What are the pros and cons of living in Welland you need to know about before making the move here? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the top 21 different pros and cons I discussed with all my clients who are thinking about making the move out to Welland. And this includes everything from the real estate, the shopping, the schools, the parks, the entertainment, as well as some huge cons that stop some clients from moving to Welland in general, or at least just certain areas of Welland. So if you want to learn all the different pros and cons about what it's like living in Welland, make sure you keep on watching. But first, let's discuss the location, as Welland is a small town in the Niagara region and is only about a 25-minute drive from Niagara Falls, about a 40-minute drive from Buffalo, New York, a 1-hour drive to Hamilton, and about a 2-hour drive to Toronto. Now, Welland does give you easy access to all these large cities, as it is really a small town at the heart of it, as it has a population of under 60,000 people. Now, before you make the move to Welland, there's definitely certain areas, like I mentioned, you'd want to know more about. So let me jump on the computer here and show you a breakdown of the map. So right now, let's discuss where the wastewater treatment plants and the landfills are in Welland. So as you see, we got Welland over here, just south of St. Catharines. We're going to zoom in. The first area I'll point over is to the Welland wastewater treatment plant. It's actually right here. So when we're talking about like Hunters Point or the 406, that's this area right here. So right beside Young Sports Complex, you're really not going to notice it unless you have a drone like I do, or you're going to be driving right along River Road here. You'll notice a little entrance points into the wastewater treatment plant. This is the only one here. So just something to be aware of is that's one. And then the other one that clients usually ask about is the landfills. Now, there's one that's just on the south end of Welland right here. You see, it's kind of Welland South. Now, there is a forest here, so you don't really notice it when you're living here, but another area definitely to be aware of. Now, if you want to learn where the different industrial areas are, the train tracks are, the hydro lines and power stations are, then keep on watching. But if you're new here and want to learn everything about what it's like living in Welland and the surrounding cities, my name is Matthew, the founding realtor of the Living in Hamilton channel and team, and for the past couple of years, been helping people just like yourselves relocate here and buy a home. So if you're thinking about making the move to Welland or one of the surrounding cities, whether you're 6 months out or 60 days out, send me and my team a message today. But the next pro about living in Welland is the amazing parks and conservation areas. And the first park you'll need to check out is the Merritt Island Park. This is a long strip of green space that has a trail on it right alongside the old Welland Canal, now known as the Welland Recreational Canal. So it's also a very popular spot to launch a kayak or a paddleboard in the morning and enjoy. Now, if you're looking for more of a traditional park to enjoy, Chippewa Park definitely has this, as this is found in the west part of Welland and offers lots of green space, including this beautiful rose garden. But they also have this war memorial, lawn bowling options, beach volleyball courts, as well as a small community center. And then topping it off with, of course, a baseball diamond, jungle gyms, and splash pad. And even in the wintertime here, you will find a community rink to enjoy it with your neighbors. Now, another notable park would be Memorial Park. This one here is found on the east side of Welland, and it offers a bunch of different baseball diamonds. But what I think it's better known for is the Memorial Pool, which in my opinion is the best outdoor pool in all of Welland and is perfect for kids of all ages in the summertime to enjoy. Then another place you will find an outdoor pool with another great park is in Maple Park. This is found on the west side of Welland. Here you'll find a couple baseball diamonds as well as the Maple Pool, which is another outdoor pool that's perfect for kids to enjoy. Then if you do have a dog or dogs, you're going to find a great dog park in the Welland Dog Park on the south end for your dogs to run off leash. Now, of course, no matter where you're going to be living in Welland, you're going to find a variety of different neighborhood parks that are all going to be walking distance from the different detached homes and townhomes you're going to be finding here. And oftentimes, these parks here are right beside these schools. So if you want to learn more about how the schooling is in Welland, keep on watching. But the next thing you need to be aware of before making the move to Welland is the shopping, as this can be seen as both a pro or con, really depending on what you compare it to. As like I mentioned, Welland is a small town. So if you compare it to other small towns, in my opinion, it is definitely a pro. Now, if you're comparing it to some bigger cities like St. Catharines or Hamilton, it's definitely going to be seen as a con, as there's less options. Now, with that said, Welland definitely has a lot of different options still for you to choose from, as you will find the Seaway Mall on the north side of Welland. And this here offers 100 different stores to shop at, everything from a Staples, a Shoppers, a Winners. It also has a Cineplex here, as well as a sports Sports Check, and then just across the street, you'll find a Leon's and a Zayre's. Then another area that you're going to find a lot of different shopping options is the Smart Center in Welland, which is found right beside the 406. And here offers a great Walmart, one of the best Canadian Tires I've seen around, as well as a Rona and a bunch of smaller stores to shop at. So those are the two main shopping areas in Welland. Now, with that said, you will find a few smaller plazas that usually have a grocery store, a pharmacy, and a couple of other shops, usually on like Niagara Street, Thorold Street, or Ontario Street. Or also you'll find some great shops on Main Street, which actually brings me on to the next point, as Main Street runs along this pro or con, again, depending on what you compare it to, and that is the Welland downtown core, as this is found right in the middle of Welland, right alongside the original canal. And here you're gonna find this historic lift bridge that no longer lifts up and down, so you don't have to worry about that increasing your traffic time. However, what you will find here is a bunch of different great local shops and restaurants to enjoy, with lots of historic charm as you walk down the Main Street here. Now, it is a relatively small downtown area. However, with that said, you will find the Welland City Square here, which in the wintertime offers an outdoor ice rink for you to enjoy, as well as host a variety of different events throughout the year. Now, one of the next pros about living in Welland is the farmers market, and this one here is one of the largest in the Niagara region, and it has been going on since 1907. And like I mentioned, it takes place just outside the downtown area of Welland in the Market Square, and it happens to go on throughout the year every single Saturday morning. Now, they do offer extra outdoor stalls in the warmer months where you can find a variety of farm fresh produce, artisanal goods, as well as delicious baked goods and meats. Now, if you can't wait for Saturday to go enjoy some local food, then you are going to enjoy the next pro about living in Welland, and that is the amazing local gems, as my personal favorite local gem is the Empty Bellies right on the north end of Welland. And here has something just for the whole family to enjoy. It's a true staple in the Welland community. But then you also have the Mexican Taco Zone, which is this like food truck little stall right in the south end of Welland here, and it's some of the best Mexican food you'll find around, to the Black Sheep Coffee Roasters that's been a community staple for the last 10 years. And right beside that there, you'll actually find the Bridgewater Brewery, my favorite spot to grab a craft beer in Welland. And then you have Matteo's Restaurant right in downtown Welland, for my opinion, the best Italian food in all of Welland. Now, another great pro about living in Welland, and something I've never seen anywhere else, is the different local events and festivals. Now, the events that I'm really talking about are the concerts on the canal, as well as has this outdoor amphitheater that is a perfect spot to enjoy live music right beside the old Welland Canal. And it's a perfect spot, and there's a variety of shows that happen throughout the summer months. Then another historic event that you'll need to enjoy when living in Welland is the Welland Rose Festival, as this takes place in mid-June, and it's one of the longest running Welland festivals, and it includes a parade, a live music, a bunch of different craft shows and community events with youth performances running throughout the festival. And then another great festival is the Welland Float Festival, and this one here takes place every July, and it's a family-friendly event where a bunch of people float on the Welland Canal and enjoy live entertainment and amazing food trucks. So as you can see, lots of different fun family events to enjoy. However, one of the downsides about living in Welland is if you're looking for more nightlife or entertainment, you're not going to be finding that here in Welland. As like I mentioned, it is a small town, so a lot of families who are thinking about making the move to Welland don't really mind that. Plus, you're only about a 30-minute drive, like I mentioned, to Niagara Falls, where you have all that nightlife you can enjoy if you want that occasional night out. Now, with that said, one of the advantages of living in a small town is the safety it offers you, which is the next pro about living in Welland. As according to Statistics Canada, in the 2023 Crime Index for the Niagara region, which Welland is a part of, the crime severity index was a 54.5, and that there is lower than the national national average, and it considers Welland as a whole a very safe place to live. Now, to give you some extra context on what 54.5 actually means, it's lower than the Greater Toronto Area, Hamilton, Calgary, Surrey, Ottawa, and the Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge area. However, it was slightly higher than the Peel region and Halton region. Now, if you want to learn more about the crime and safety at the time of you watching this, the best place to do that would be directly from the source. So I'll leave a link down below for the Niagara Region's police website and map. Now, oftentimes families who are interested in the safety and crime are also interested in the schools. So if you want to learn more about those, keep on watching. But now let's talk about the next pro and why so many families choose to call Welland home, and that is the cost of living. As if we look here at the data that's provided us from the Economic Research Institute, we can see that living in Welland is 4% above the national average, however 2% below the provincial average, which when you compare it to the other cities in the GTA is quite affordable, which we'll do in just a second. But if we first zoom in here to the affordability breakdown of Welland, here we can see that it's a bit more affordable when it comes to food, transportation, and healthcare. However, like any city really in Ontario, the housing tends to be below average for affordability. However, with that said, there's a lot of context here as it really does depend on what cities you're comparing it to. So that actually brings me on to the next pro of living in Welland, and that is the real estate cost. As if we compare Welland to often the cities, my clients who are considering making the move to Welland but are thinking about some other areas, Welland is usually more on the affordable side. As we can see here, it is a similar cost for a median detached home as St. Catharines, Niagara Falls, and Fort Erie. However, it is more affordable than Grimsby, Hamilton, the Kitchener-Waterloo area, as well as Burlington for the last 10 years. Now, if we break Welland's real estate down a little bit further, we can see that detached homes were 82% of the sales in the past 12 months, and you're going to find a variety of styles here to choose from. Close to the downtown core, you're going to find those historic red brick homes and just those ones that offer lots of old world charm. And then in the east in Welland, you'll find a lot of post-war bungalows on larger lots, as well as plenty of 1960s and 1980s side splits and back splits in mature neighborhoods. Then on the north and south end, again, you're going to find those practical side splits with spacious yards, but you're also going to start to find a lot of different new build pockets throughout the south end, the north end, and the east end. Now, the median price point in the last 12 months for a Welland detached home sits at $590,000. And as you can see here, the majority of the detached homes were really selling between that $400,000 and $700,000 mark. So there's a lot of different new development here, and that is definitely one of the pros about living in Welland when you compare it to like a city like St. Catharines that just offers way less new development. Now, in terms of townhomes, because there's a lot of new development, you're going to find a lot of townhomes here as well, as this made up 17% of the sales in the past 12 months. And like I mentioned, you're going to find a bunch of newer townhomes here, but then you'll also find a couple developments from the late 90s, early 2000s, as well as some older freehold townhomes from the 70s and 80s. Now, the median price for townhomes in Welland in the past 12 months was $538,000. And as you can see here, typically we're selling between that $400,000 and $600,000 mark. And if we break down townhomes a little bit further, we can see that about 50% were semi-detached townhomes, 31% were freehold townhomes, and then only about 17% were condo townhomes. Now, in terms of condo apartments, there's going to only be a select few options to choose from in Welland, as this only made up 1% of the sales in the past 12 months, and they're all going to be those low-rise buildings, usually offering 1 to 2 beds and 1 to 2 bathrooms, typically on the west and south side of Welland. And as you can see here, the median price being $405,000. And as you can see here, the last 5 that have sold in the last 12 months all sold between that $300,000 to $500,000 mark. Now, with that said, there's not much inventory for condos, but there's lots of great options for townhomes and detached homes. Now, if you want to learn more about the different neighborhoods we'd recommend for you and what you can find based on your search criteria, send me and my team a message today. We'd be happy to jump on a call and and give you our recommendations for Welland and the surrounding cities. Now, if you're thinking about buying a home in Welland, the next con associated with living here is the higher property taxes, as in this study that was done in 2024 comparing 24 different regions property taxes, Niagara, which again Welland of course is a part of, was the fourth highest, meaning it has higher property taxes than Hamilton, Burlington, Kitchener, and Toronto. However, a little bit less than London. Now, with that said, comparing the real estate, and if you're to buy the same detached home in Toronto or Hamilton and Burlington versus Welland, you're definitely going to get it at a more affordable cost compared to Welland, but definitely something you should be aware of. Now, if you want to learn more about which neighborhoods you should make the move in Welland, let me jump on the computer and show you the exact breakdown. Alrighty, so here we have a map of Welland, and let's break it down into the different quadrants. So first, we'll just zoom in and look at the north end of Welland, and this includes two different areas. And the reason why that is you have the old Welland Canal kind of breaking it up here. Now we have the more traditional North Welland. Here is a lot more established. You're going to find a lot more side splits, back splits, bungalows in this part here. You got the Niagara College campus right here, as well as the Seaway Mall that we've already discussed. Now, with that said, there's not that much new development here. You will find a smaller pocket right here on the north side that has a lot of homes that are from, and townhomes for that matter, that are really from the early 2000s up until today. Then if you're looking for even more newer real estate to choose from, where you're going to be finding that is in the Hunters Point. So you have the 406 right here, right? And then you got the super Walmart Center. You got the Smart Center right here of Welland. Well, just on the other side of 406, you have Hunters Park, which originally is going to be an adult community, really focused on downsizing and living in a great community. So you got that area over here, a lot of different townhomes and bungalows to choose from. However, down this kind of strip right here, you have a lot of new detached homes and townhomes right along the new Welland Canal. Now, if we look at the next area of Welland, it's going to be, again, some more established areas and newer areas as well. So as we get closer to the downtown area of Welland, which of course is right here, you're going to find a lot of mature neighborhoods. So you got a lot of historic homes, especially around Chippewa Park is a really great, charming area to just walk around and enjoy. But then you'll find, again, some side splits as you get closer to the north end, as well as a lot of wartime bungalows. Then if you're looking for some newer real estate on the west side, where you're going to be finding that is over here in Coily Creek. It's this beautiful, great, small little community compared to the rest of Welland, but it's this park right here. You got Coily Creek Park as well, and just offers lots of great bungalow townhome options, as well as bungalow detached homes, two-story townhomes, as well as two-story detached homes. Just a great option if you're looking for newer real estate as well to choose from. Then if we kind of flip on here and look at the next area, you're going to find South Welland, and it really has two areas. So we'll actually first talk about the real Welland South, and that's this area over here. So again, you're going to find one of the more established areas, right? Because the downtown core of Welland was really situated around the old Welland Canal. So you have the iconic like Bridge 38 right here that used to be an old lift bridge. Now it just doesn't lift up anymore. But you got this great opportunity here, and that's why you have this really established neighborhood here. Now, Welland South is definitely still an established area as well. Finding some great options to choose from. Then if we go a little bit more south onto this almost like island here, as you have the old Welland Canal and the new Welland Canal kind of converging back up as it passed through Welland, you'll find Dane City. Now, Dane City used to be this really charming community, and it still is in some parts, but a lot of it is changing. As you can kind of see, if I even turn this off for a second, this is the original kind of built up community here. Large lots, bungalow side splits, back splits. Then you're gonna find a lot of new detached homes and townhomes, some on the south end over here, but a lot more kind of on the north end right up over here of Dane City. Then the next areas of Welland is East Welland. Now that, in my opinion, also includes downtown Welland, which is just this pocket right here as well, and really has some great local gems. Like I mentioned, Matteo's Italian restaurant, it's one of my favorites, as well as you got the Market Square right over here as well. Now, with that said, East Welland tends to be a bit more affordable than West Welland. You're going to find a lot of bungalows here. Again, some side splits, some back splits as well. But it is going to be typically a bit more affordable than West Welland or North Welland. Then you will find some great estate lots in the Cook Mills. This is a rural area really doesn't have much real estate to choose from, but the real estate you'll find here are either older bungalows that have huge lots or custom estate mansions. So hopefully now you have a better idea of the different neighborhoods of Welland and what is right for you. If you want a recommendation from me and the team, send me and my team a message today. We'd be happy to jump on a call with you. And while we have the map up here, let's discuss the next pro or con, and that is Welland is very car dependent. It does have a somewhat decent public transit that we'll discuss in just a second. But for the most part, when you're living here, you're going to be car dependent. Now, with that said, in my opinion, that's pretty much every city in Ontario. But one of the advantages of living in Welland is the limited amount of traffic within the city. As right here, as you see, Welland at 5 p.m. on a typical 5:20 p.m. on a Wednesday. As you can see here, it's just green throughout the community, and really traffic's gonna be moving really well. The areas like that you are going to be experiencing if you are commuting in to Welland and out to Welland or out to the GTA is really going to be the bottlenecks on the QEW that are going to be typical for anyone living in the Niagara region. But in terms of actually getting around Welland, for the most part, you're not going to find many different bottlenecks here. Then the next pro or con, depending on what you're comparing it to, is the public transit in Welland. As here, you're going to be finding a reliable bus network that has buses come every 30 minutes to stops. However, with that said, if you compare it to bigger cities, it's going to be a little bit lacking, but more notably is there's a lack of a GO train station stop here. So you're not going to have the option to train in to Union Station or one of the other GO train stops. However, you will find a couple different GO bus stops here for you to jump on a GO bus. Then another pro about living in Welland is the healthcare, as you'll find the Welland Hospital on the east side, just south of downtown Welland, and was opened back in 1960s and offers emergency care, surgeries, diagnostics, and outpatient clinics. However, there are future plans because Niagara Falls on the south end, which is going to be pretty close, relatively speaking, to Welland, is going to have this brand new hospital. A lot of the responsibilities of the old Welland Hospital will be transferred to that new Niagara Falls Hospital. However, with that said, they're still planning on being operational, especially in the emergency services. Then the next pro about living in Welland is the great amount of community centers you're going to be finding throughout the town, as you have the Young Sportsplex on the north end, right beside the Welland Smart Center Plaza, that offers a variety of different sports fields, both turf and grass soccer fields, indoor and outdoor, ball hockey and tennis courts, and so much more. Then on the south end, you're going to find both the Empire Sportsplex, which has a variety of tennis and pickleball courts, as well as an amazing beach volleyball and basketball court setup. But that's also right beside the Welland International Flat Water Center. This here is the premier flat water sports facilities, and I didn't know what that meant, but that basically means anything that's performed on like flat water. So canoeing, biking, rowing, dragon boating, these are all different things that happen here, and it's a world-renowned international competitions come here to compete. But for your own personal recreation use, it's a great spot to launch any paddle boards or kayaks for the day. Then you'll also find the Welland Community Center right beside the downtown of Welland that offers a variety of different woodshop rooms, a billiards rooms, as well as a community lab and public library. And this here is right beside the main arena in Welland, the Jack Ballantyne Memorial Arena, that has a great spot for any local hockey games or public skates. And then on the north end, right beside the Niagara College campus, you will find the YMCA of Welland that offers a gym and fitness center, an indoor track, 2 different indoor pools, one for leisure and one for labs, as well as a gym for basketball and a bunch of different community rooms. And then you will find 3 different community pools outside to enjoy. You have the St. George Park pool, the Maple Park pool, and the Memorial Park pool. And like I mentioned, a variety of these parks, including these ones here, are right beside some schools, which is the next pro of living in Welland, and that is the amazing schools. As here, you're going to find 18 total different elementary schools, both public and Catholic, and 10 of them were rated above the provincial average, with some top performers in recent rankings being the St. Kevin's Catholic Elementary School, the Princess Elizabeth Public Elementary School, as well as the Fitch Street Public Elementary School. school. And then in terms of high school, you're going to find 5 different high schools here, both public and Catholic again, and 3 of which were rated above the provincial average. And then, like I mentioned, on the north side of Welland, you're going to be finding the Niagara College, which is Canada's #1 research college, and both in the years 2023 and 2024, and has been in the top 10 for nearly a decade, primarily known for its media and broadcasting program, its health and community services, and technology and trades. Now, the next pro about living in Welland is the wineries and vineyards it has to offer you, as you're not going to find many within the Welland area. However, you're in the Niagara region and you have so many different vineyards and wineries to enjoy, especially just north of Welland here. And while I'm not a big wine guy, I'm a big golf guy, which is the next pro of living in Welland, is the amazing golf courses you're going to have close by, as you have the Cardinal Lakes Golf Club, the Pelham Hills Golf Club, the Grassy Brooks, as well as the Rolling Meadows Golf and Country Club. So since you stuck around to the end of this video here, let me jump on the computer and show you the other warning areas you might want to try to avoid, or at least know about before making the move to Welland. So we've talked about the wastewater treatment and landfill. The next one is the industrial areas. As you can see here, again, for the most part, they're kind of on the south end of Welland, really on Welland South, as well as the east part of Welland. You will find a small little spot right here that's got a lot of like metal recycling shops right here as well. However, for the most part, like if you're living anywhere in like West Welland, North Welland, for the most part, like South Welland, unless you get a bit closer to here, but again, it's like light industry, right? So it's not like steel manufacturing like Hamilton. It's more like warehousing, so like auto mechanics, dealerships, etc. Then in terms of where the train tracks are located, as you can see here, while there's no GO train stops, there are still a bunch of train tracks that come and go throughout Welland. Most notably is really going to be through Dane City, is where you're going to notice it. You got a nice little bridge that you go over here. This here kind of just more like stops on the way, but you will find one that does cut up here and does go into St. Catharines right along the east end of Welland, and the rest of these ones are more rural train tracks. And then in terms of the hydro lines and hydro stations, if we click on here, again, if you're in the north or west end, you're not going to be finding any. Let me actually change the base map right here so you can see it a bit better for the hydro lines. As you can see, for the most part, it's really just on the east end of Welland, and then rips out to both Niagara Falls right here and then St. Catharines here to the respective power plants that all the energy is coming from, and then of course getting distributed throughout Welland. So now that you know the 21 different pros and cons about what it's like living in Welland, if you want to learn more about a different city that might offer you a bit bigger city vibes, the next video I'd recommend you go take a look at is my video breaking down the pros and cons of St. Catharines, which is just north of Welland. So you can find that video right here. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.